Is this the hardest era to win an MVP in? You have to be nearly perfect to win it nowadays. Luca averaged 34.99 and finished third. Luca currently, I think, on NBA.com might be fourth, and he's having a similar season in terms of raw numbers. Is this the hardest era that that players have tried to win an MVP in?
I don't think so. We had a guy that averaged 35 in '06. He was third or fourth in
Fourth,
MVP voting.
yeah.
I just think I mean, you just have to have all things going right for you when the field is competitive. You have to have the team wins. You have to have the narrative going your way. Is there a repeat winner to where now they don't want to give that person a second or third in a row? Like uh, that has existed before. I think it's one of the more competitive times, absolutely.
Sure, I can go
But
with that.
like, yeah, I don't think it's the hardest. I think it's hard winning MVP in general. You know what I'm saying? You have to be the best player on a really good team. Other players maybe having a down season or something like that. Like so, winning a competitive award, I mean that just comes with the territory. It's the MVP.
I think a lot of times, and I've said this in the past, and I will stand on it. Guys can be victims of their own success. So a guy like Joker, who last season averaged, was it a 30-point triple double or almost a 30-point
Well,
triple double?
29.6. So
Almost.
Okay, so
Almost.
so almost a
Damn
30-point
near,
triple double.
damn near, yeah.
So if Joker does anything like that, now that's the standard for Joker, which means that he's going to have to do something even more astronomical to even be considered the league MVP. So a guy who doesn't perform up to that level, but has performed to a level that's surpassed what he's done in the past, he will get considered more than the guy that we just seen. Prime example would be Joker. Prime example would be KD or SGA, where a guy is averaging. I mean, SGA, I think this season of the 13 games that he's played, I think half of them he hasn't played in the fourth quarter. He's averaging
I think
30.
it might be 8 games now.
So, yeah, something like that, where he hasn't played in the fourth quarter. He's still averaging 30 a game. And if I'm not mistaken, uh I think he leads all players in the league in points without free throws. Something to that effect. And don't quote me on that because I want to make sure that I get that right. However, when guys are that good, they now become that now becomes the standard for them, which would explain why Giannis hasn't seen a league MVP in 5 years. Because 30, 10, and 6, even though he's on a team that isn't very good and he's elevating this team in the regular season and making this team good. Well, you did that last year. Well, you did that the year before last. So now that's who you are. So unless you can do something like 35 a game and 14 rebounds and 7 assists on even better efficiency, and your team is better, then we won't consider you because this is actually who you are now. So I think it's the gift and the curse, and a lot of these guys become victims of their own success. And I do use the word victim because it is somewhat of a victim mentality because I don't think I'm going to see anybody do what Joker is doing, what SGA is doing, and they're going to get passed over. 20 years from now, we're going to look back on Joker averaging 30, 10, and 10 and not winning league MVP and be like, damn, what was going on? Why couldn't he win the league MVP? Even though he won it 2 years before that, averaging 26 a game. And the year before that, averaging 26 and 13. Why couldn't he win the league MVP averaging 30, 10, and 10? What's the problem? So I think a lot of these guys are victims of their own success.
I also think that we got to stop judging things off of statistics. I was actually made a reaction video to that conversation y'all were talking about as far as the best top 5 like talents ever, and then Swiper makes the point of, well, have we ever seen anybody averaging 30 on this level of true shooting? And he mentions Jokic and Giannis and Shea, but we're in the most efficient offensive environment ever as well. So I don't think that's fair to compare like previous generations to that. Like, no, those generations aren't going to do.
Mr.
No,
Relative
those
Talent.
generations aren't going to do what this generation does because this generation is in a better environment to produce those kind of outputs. So I think I don't know. And even like right now, what is the league average true shooting right now?
58.3.
58 something.
It's like
58
58.3
something.
Right.
or something
So
like that.
That's
so
league average.
as far as like relative to the league, right? Shay's what 63.5, 64 true shooting would look crazy a few years ago. That'd be what, like a +7 or whatever.
He's 65 right now. Just putting out
65 right now. So
See, that's
so he's
goofy,
still
Mars.
+7.
That don't even sound correct to say something.
Yeah,
like
we're kind of maxing out in terms of efficiency. I don't know how much more efficient the league can get.
Yeah.
in general.
we keep saying that, but I
But-
don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's tough with the way shot diets are. I don't know like how you optimize more than you currently
And
are.
I think they're pushing each other, Mars. Like I think that's probably my biggest takeaway. I think 2020. I think Giannis, Harden, Braun. That was his own like battle for a few years. Steph, Durant, Braun, Kawhi. That was his own battle for a few years, and then it was Durant, LeBron. That was his own battle for about 2 years, and then before that, it was Derrick Rose, LeBron, Dwight, Kobe. That was his own battle. I think now, Jokic being what he's been, I think in the MVP conversation, and Shea wanting to win MVP, he knew that there was a level he had to get to. So he leveled up last year and went crazy. I think Embiid knew what the field was. He leveled up like crazy, started scoring and defense at crazy levels. Giannis, very aware of the field, wants to be the best player in the world. He leveled up. And, you know, somebody said this to me not too long ago, but just based on kind of how Jokic operates, he would never say it. But I do think this year especially, there's like an era to Jokic where he feels no matter who's on the floor or who I'm playing against, I am going to be the best player on the floor regardless of what happens. And I think when you have people, SGA, Jokic, Giannis, Luka, who I didn't even mention, they're constantly fighting for position in the league, and I think they all want to be recognized as the best. I think that has pushed them to such a historic level. That's why I'm saying I think it's tough, real talk, because I don't know. I think the 03 thing, you know, I don't think T-Mac 03 as good as he was. I still think Luka, Giannis, and all them are all better than him. I think Shaq 03, as we talked about, I still think a lot of these players are, if not all of them, were better than Shaq at that point. Duncan was obviously really good. Like, Kobe was really good. But I think a lot of this is just like, dude, I mean, I don't know what
You think SGA and Luka are just better individual players this singular season than Tracy McGrady in 03?
I think they're having better seasons than Tracy did, in 02, 03. And I brought up that Tracy.
But why? Like, what do they do better?
I think they're both,
what do they do
they're
better?
both better scorers by like. Now, Tracy that year was like
I already disagree with you on that.
But so could I have this
more efficient or better scorer?
Well, SJ is for sure a better scorer than Tracy was at that point. I'm trying to remember the exact numbers because I actually had this.
T-Mac averaged 32. I know that on like plus.
Yeah,
I'm
trying to find it.
Maybe.
And in the
Tracy
year, he did it twice, and he averaged 28 the other time, and he shot like 41.
Yeah, but they only won 21 games, so that means we can't credit him.
Where is my Tracy McGrady post? Because I think it was like so that year he was a plus 4.5 real talk. So I have it all written down. I put this tweet out in 2023. He was 32.1, which is insane. 6.5 rebounds, insane. 5.5 assists, insane. 1.7 steals, 48% from two, which 2003 is like great. 38.6% from three, which is again 2002-3, great. 79% from the free throw line. So that was a 56 at the time. The league average was about like 52.9, so it was plus 4.5. Now this is the like a nerd stat a little bit. He had a 30 PER that year, which is insane for a guard. Box plus minus was elite that year. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's just, but I think if you compare him to SGA right now, brother, I'm just like, he won't stop. Like, I think SGA just kind of won't stop at this point. Like, he will not, whatever that thing is that's ticking in SGA's brain. Like, now the schedule's been fluff. Like, they've had the easiest, like, schedule for the most part in the league. If you look, I'm giving credit to both of them. I think Jokic and SGA have benefited from that. Like, if you look at the dunks and three stuff, they have. But I think it doesn't matter. Like, he's still playing 3 quarters, and in 3 quarters, he's averaging 31 points a game. And, he's having, like, his splits are wild, and his shot diet is wild. It's not like it's easy a shot diet either. Like, these are defenders in my face, and you still can't stop me type of thing. So, and then Luka, now, to your point, the Luka scoring stuff is tricky. Because he's super efficient in certain areas, but he's not taking a lot of shots in those areas. And I remember I brought that up 2 weeks ago, and then I know you talked about this. Jason Tim talked about this. Shout out to Jason, who's great at his job as well. He definitely is like struggling in some ways, but I still think Luka, the playmaking and stuff, what he's doing as a singular offensive engine, real talk, I think he's been better than Tracy, but I think that speaks to how good Luka is, that he's still underperforming relative to maybe what he could be at this point in time, if that makes sense.
Really?
But
Well,
then the Shaq thing, I
like
think, is just not really much of a
35,
combo.
34 games.
I don't know. I just feel like yes, Shea's averaging 30 and 3/4, which he definitely deserves all the credit in the world for that. Luka's putting up phenomenal statistics as well. I guess what I'm saying is when I picture 03 Tracy McGrady in today's environment, to me, it wouldn't shock me if we get the same production from Tracy McGrady as we're seeing from Shea and Luka. And I know that's a bit of a mental leap that you have to take, but I mean, we've seen Tracy McGrady in his skill set. So
Yep.
what I'm saying is if I put 02, 03 Tracy McGrady on that OKC team, I don't really think too much changes, in my opinion. And it's not because I don't think Shea's great. I just think
But
that highly of
T-Mac
0203 Tracy McGrady.
Yeah, I get
And
that.
so I don't know. I'm gonna just stop trying to compare these players and who play in completely different eras because I just think it'll probably end up discrediting either one of them, probably, to have the conversation.
But T-Mac, to your point though, he was in Chill. You were older than us. I remember vividly, but I was like 12. You know what I mean? Like you remember it more vividly than I do. So
Sure.
I am with you. Again, I said this on the Twitter the other day, and I know a lot of Lakers fans didn't like this. This was early this year. The conversation was T-Mac or Kobe. For like
That was a
2
real
years.
conversation too.
Yeah,
and it was really
I think
going on.
Kobe fans don't remember it that way, but like that's literally what happened. I thought
No, it
T-Mac was
was.
the best shooting guard in the league at that point in time. So I'm with you. Like I think T-Mac was phenomenal. But maybe I'm being a little protective of SGA, maybe too, because I'm like, I don't want to be unfair to him. But to your point, he was a superstar MVP caliber player that season, and he could have won MVP.
Well, quick side
Chill.
note.
What does the name Jim Hines mean to you?
Jim Hines.
I'm about to get some context, man.
I feel like it should mean something, but I don't know.
In
It
the
doesn't mean-
1968
doesn't,
Olympics, right? Where
okay.
when it was unthought of, it was unthinkable that somebody could run 100 meters in 10 seconds. And suddenly we have runners who are breaking that barrier with 9.95.
Sure.
Next thing you know, everybody's breaking it. Everybody's breaking 9.95 now. So this is the thing that I think what Swiper was saying was
But everybody's not though, Penn. See, that's the thing.
Well,
Let's
not
stop
me and
right
you, not me and you,
there. No,
but
and not everybody in even not everybody in the because I think I know where you're going with this. Not everybody in the league is doing what SGA is doing. Not everybody.
And by the way,
in the league
all
is
time, Chill, to Penn's point, all time now. I'm looking at the list. This is stupid, bro. There have been 194 people. It looks like, and a lot of these are tied. So this might be like 200. There's around 200 people now in world history that have been timed for a 9.99 or faster at this point.
right. And it was unthinkable at the time that someone could break 10. I mean, again, and is that just simply training got better, athletes got bigger, human
Yes.
evolution? Is that part of it? Yes, that's part of it.
Yes.
But I think what someone like Malcolm Gladwell would say in this situation is that the example of somebody breaking 10 sets a new standard for what you're trying to achieve.
Mhm.
Sometimes it just helps. Like there's a book called Outliers, right, where it talks about pockets of outliers. Where
Mhm.
is it crazy that Jada Pinkett Smith and Tupac knew each other when they were growing up? Is that insane? Did part of one knowing the other influence the growth of the other? How many times have we seen 3, 4, dominant future celebrities, actors, etc.? And we're like, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck knew each other since they were how old?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The greatness
Mhm.
influences greatness, human interactions, societies, etc.
Sure.
These guys watch each other every single night. If I'm a big in the league, if I'm Joel Embiid, I am watching Jokic, and frankly, right now, if I'm Anthony Edwards, I am watching Shea. This is normal. Just like Michael watched Magic, just like Kobe watched Michael.
But
This
it's not,
builds
though,
on builds on builds on builds, right?
And here's why. And here's why I have to disagree with that. The reason why I have to disagree with that is because one more time, swipe it with that number in human history.
200 people, around 200 people are running 9.9 or faster.
200 people, like,
Men,
and
obviously.
that's when they
In
were timing it.
1967, it
What
was
I'm saying,
zero.
right at the point that I'm making with this is, I still, even if I'm watching Joker, even if I'm a competitor and I'm watching SGA, if I'm watching Anthony Edwards, I still have to be physically able to do that stuff, and I'm not. Which would explain why we don't have, instead of 5 guys averaging 30, 15 guys averaging 30, which would explain why we don't have 7 guys in the league averaging 12 rebounds instead of 14 guys averaging 12 rebounds, stuff like that. Because I still have to be physically able to do what he does. I still have to be physically able to do what Joker does. I don't see the game like Joker sees the game. I'm not the athlete that Anthony Edwards is. I don't have the craft that SGA has. I might have some things, but physically, I don't have all of that stuff. So what I'm doing now is I'm making it look like, because SGA does it, because Anthony Edwards is doing it, because we have a bunch of great scorers in the game, now it's almost like it's getting filtered. Like, almost everybody can do this. No, this is why we talk about these guys the way we do.
Chill. Some of how we play the game right now, though, does facilitate to bigger volume numbers being created by even players that you wouldn't even suspect or agree that is that good. So, for example, I'll give you, well, let me hit this other point that Penn touched on real quick too.
Sure.
Penn is absolutely right. This is also why, like, Swiper would attest to this as well. Things like representation is big, and it's actually a thing, because once you see it be done, now you can believe it can be done. Right?
So you're saying that, like, athletics is also a big DEI thing?
Oh, God,
no, what I'm saying okay, whatever. In general, like Barack being the president actually opened the possibility of, like, oh, a black man can be like, that used to be a running joke.
What happened to black test scores when Barack became president?
Yeah, Chill would know. In this used to be a running joke, like, in the community, like, but I'll do that when one of us become president, like, because we just thought that wasn't even like going to be a thing for real.
Right.
But to the point of Chill, I'll say this: Austin Reeves, I believe, is a really good player. I do believe is a really good player. However, Austin Reeves now, when he is solo doloing a team or the second option, is producing production on the lines of your favorite guard, Donovan Mitchell. Right? So we can't just be like, oh, well, I don't know. Everybody can't average 30. Do you think Austin Reeves is as good as Donovan Mitchell? I don't.
I do not think that.
But he's producing on the same level as far as his output and efficiency as Donovan Mitchell. So there is something to be said that all of these stats and what we're watching right now does need to be contextualized in a sense. And that also is what makes the Tracy McGrady and Kobe and all of them playing in this era argument, is because if we're seeing a player to the level of Austin Reeves average 28 on 64, 65 plus true shooting in this offensive environment, it is not a crazy leap or conclusion to come to if we also think if you put T-Mac or Kobe in this environment that they could do what SGA's doing. Respectfully, I think that is a more than fair and right conclusion to come to, be it that we're watching the league where Austin Reeves is averaging 30 on 64 true shooting or whatever he's doing right now. So again, I understand what they're doing is fantastic. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. They are great players, historic players, but we do have to contextualize a little bit these volume numbers that are going on right now. That's all.
Well, the best example of this, by the way, Chill, is Kevin Durant going from OKC to Golden State. So if I filter out for his first 2 seasons, because they shouldn't count, he was very young in OKC. Since he became an all-star, Kevin Durant's 2-point percentage in OKC was 53.3%, which is good, very good, in fact. The first year in Golden State, it was 60.8. Did he just level up that much as a player? Or does it matter so much that you're playing with the 2 greatest shooters of all time? Now, I'm not saying that everybody got step and play now. I'm not
Mhm.
saying you got Steph and Clay now, but the
Sure.
gap between Steph and Clay is the point. Steph and Clay relative to the mean average shooting
Yeah.
guard, point guard combo in terms of the space they can provide for an alpha scorer like Kevin Durant is
Sure.
the reason that you have 60.8% from two. That's because the paint is way more wide open when you're playing with shooters like that. So if you consider that, what is the gap between what Shea is playing with today in terms of talent and what 03 McGrady played with in terms of talent, what 06 Kobe played with in terms of talent? It's mega large. It's
a gap.
mega large.
Yes, it
I
is.
would argue today, last year, AJ Mitchell didn't play a minute. Well, not a minute. He barely played. He was not in the rotation for the OKC Thunder.
Sure.
I could make an argument, and a pretty coherent one, that if we could import him into 03, he might be McGrady's best teammate.
I
So,
don't hate that.
like, is he that much worse than Mike Miller? Like, you know what I mean? So I think
But the game might be a little bit different in terms of what his game is today and what the game is back then. A lot
yeah,
more,
I
a lot
mean,
less movement,
like,
a lot less ball movement, a lot of guys clogged in. But I mean, to Real Talk's point, yes, we did look at Barack Obama as the president of the United States, but we forget, very much like SGA, very much like Joker, very much like Giannis, very much like the best players in the game. First and foremost, President Barack Obama is ridiculously smart. Not all of us are like that. He went to Harvard, right? So let's be clear about that. It's not like he went to a state university like I did and got okay grades. No, he went to Harvard.
ITT Tech and all that, you're saying?
Yeah, no, he didn't do that. Like, and I think
chill. What's
to
the
my
fastest growing demographic of millionaires in America?
Black people.
Right. A lot of
Yes,
smart
sir.
black people in America. Tons.
100%.
A lot of them go into
100%.
Ivy League schools like Yale, Harvard, MIT. Tons. So,
Sure.
you know, personally, I wasn't there to experience it because I was in Canada at the time. But when I saw Barack Obama become president, I realized some people have some very unfavorable views towards him. And I'm not trying to turn this into a political thing, but in
No, we're
terms
not.
of what Real Talk said, or I don't know if it was Real Talk or Swiper who said it, where it was like you saw it happen and suddenly it changed the perspective of what can happen. The representation
Sure.
thing is very real. When you see yourself, your story represented on screen, a lot of people call it a DI thing, or they say it's like pandering to the lowest common denominator. It is not. If you are autistic and you see autistic characters on screen, that matters. If
Sure.
you are LGBTQ and you see LGBTQ characters on screen, honestly, if you saw LGBTQ characters on screen in 1960, it was always as the butt of the joke, right? When you saw African Americans on screen in 1950, it was as what? Side characters, mailmen, things like that. Now you see Michael B. Jordan and he's king shit. It's the same thing as women. Very often, women, right? There's a test in cinema. Do two women ever speak about anything other than a man? Right? I don't remember what it's called, but it's like there's a specific test that it is like every script has to go through, whether that happens. Now we see women who have agency that are not simply sitting there saying, save me, save me, save me. Because when a little girl opens up a television and all she sees is women who look like her saying, save me, save me, save me. And specifically to the color argument here of if she opens up her television and every black woman she sees is just at a nail salon and is never the main character, then she starts to see herself as not the main character. So I think that is a very important thing in terms of seeing something
That's
happen.
fair. I could get
right?
with that.
European players were always soft. They were always side characters in the NBA. Today, European players are the best players in the NBA. Jokic,
that's
international
fair.
players are the best players in the NBA.
Quick,
Africa thing, right? Like Ochai Baji the other day was asked who his GOAT was. He said Hakeem Olajuwon. Do you know why? Because his family's from Nigeria, and he said if Hakeem did not play basketball,
He's Nigerian?
Yes, he is.
We're both Nigerian. That's dope. I didn't know that.
Dope. So Ochai Baji said Hakeem is my GOAT because if Hakeem doesn't play basketball never enters my family because my father never picks up a basketball. It matters.